What separates a coach who is almost PCC from a coach who is PCC? Often it's one pattern, not a missing skill. They have the skill, but a habit that follows the skill and quietly undercuts it. In the same recording we just analyzed, there's a moment like that in C7. I want to show you this specifically because it's the most useful thing I can show you as a mentor coach, what the ACC to PCC edge looks like when it's genuinely close. Same session, different moment. Segment 3. The first two segments showed PCC level demonstration, strong agreements, precise listening, presence that follows the client. Segment 3 shows something more instructive, the point where a PCC level skill meets an ACC level follow through. This is the growth edge, not a failure, a precise developmental position. The skill is present. The integration is not yet complete. And the gap is specific enough that you can name it, show it in the recording, and describe exactly what PCC level would look like instead. That's the mentor coaching conversation. That's what we're doing in this segment. At 14:10, the coach shares, I'm noticing a pattern here. This seems to come up whenever the stakes are high. That's marker 7F, sharing and noticing with no attachment. The observation is offered as possibility, not conclusion. It's clean. The coach isn't telling the client what the pattern means. They're naming what they see and putting it on the table for the client to do something with. At this moment, the coach is at PCC level, the skill of noticing, articulating the pattern without imposing a direction. That's fully there. Pay close attention to exactly what happens next, because that's where the edge is. At 14:22, the coach follows with, have you thought about why you do that? Look at what just happened. The observation was offered without attachment. Then the follow-up question attached it to a specific direction. The coach selecting the exploration, pointing the client toward causation. The observation skill is PCC level. The follow-through is ACC level. The coach went from sharing with no attachment to asking a question that narrows the client's exploratory space in a particular way. One moment, two levels. The gap is specific and nameable. Here's the PCC version of that same moment. Coach shares, I'm noticing this comes up when the stakes are high. Then what comes up for you? Same observation, open invitation. The client takes it wherever they need to go. Look at the difference between the two follow-ups. Have you thought about why you do that? Selects the direction, causation, through the coach's frame. What comes up for you? Opens the space entirely. The client selects the direction. That's the AC to PCC edge. One follow-up question. Two fundamentally different stances toward the client's exploration. The distance between them is small. The difference is not. Where does this leave the C7 rating for this session? Generally demonstrated, not demonstrated, not consistently demonstrated. A precise position on the development continuum. The coach has the skill of noticing and the language to share without judgment. What's still developing is the discipline to release the observation and follow the client. Not the ability to observe, the practice of holding the space open after sharing. Generally demonstrated is a developmental location, not a verdict. It tells this coach exactly where they are and what one consistent move would change. Here's what this looks like written in the Competency Review Form. At 14:10, you named a pattern the client hadn't articulated. Strong marker 7.5 demonstration. The follow-up at 14:22 directed the client toward a coach-selected explanation. At PCC level, The follow-up would be an open invitation rather than a direction. C7, generally demonstrated. Notice the structure, time-stamped evidence, the specific marker, the rating, and the developmental next step, all in 3 sentences. This is a developmental note, not a failure verdict. The coach is on the edge. Your job is to name the gap precisely so they can see it in their own recording and recognize the moment when the choice arrives again. 3 segments. 2 show clear PCC level coaching. 1 shows the ACC-to-PCC edge. Skill present, integration not yet complete. That's a realistic picture of a PCC candidate, not a failing coach. A coach who is close, who has the skill, who is one consistent move away from PCC level C7 demonstration. Now the exercise is yours. Open the Competency Review Form, complete ratings for C3 through C8, write your developmental feedback for each competency, complete the bias reflection, submit before the next sync session. This is the core of Module 8. Take the time it deserves